First ever national level election since the tragedy of 2016. And myself and several folks here are going to be speaking to the fact that those elections had some successes, but they were not all successes, and we have tons of work left to do. First off, let me just say, if you knew about my race, look at me, I made it to Kingston anyway.
Yeah!
So I'm Geher of Move Forward New York, and I'm here to say that we have our work cut out for us still. The 2017 elections led to some great successes here in the Hudson Valley and across the nation. Progressives such as Lynn Eckert and Julius Collins joined the Ulster County Legislature, and that is good news. Local seats across Washington State famously turned from red to blue, and the governorships of two significant states, New Jersey and Virginia, turned from red to blue as well. So we have to be proud of ourselves for that. But as someone who put countless hours into a campaign for a seat in our legislature over the past several months, I'm going to tell you firsthand that there is a lot more work to be done. Consider the following. The legislatures of Orange County, Dutchess, and Ulster remain Republican-controlled. In Ulster County, registered Democrats greatly outnumber registered Republicans, yet we do not control the county, and this is a problem. Democratic turnout across Ulster County increased in places like Gardner and Plattekill, but Republican turnout increased as well, and we cannot ignore that fact. I'm going to tell you about three particular losses that I think are particularly significant. I'll tell you about a woman we call Cooperstown Leslie Burlingame in Otsego County. Leslie is famous. Does anyone know what she's famous for? She is the one who pushed John Faso up against the ropes at the town hall and said, "Will you say that you will stop taking the dirty money?" And he replied, "We agree to disagree." That's a famous moment in Faso history. Leslie's a brilliant person. She has her heart in the right place. She worked really hard. She did not win a legislative seat in her recent bid. Let me tell you about Andrew Zink. If you know Andrew Zink, who just ran for legislature in Ulster as well, you know him to be one of the brightest, hardest working people who put 1,000% into his race. He's a college student, 20-year-old kid, went all out on his race. He did not win as well. And I'm going to tell you about one other situation with a friend of mine named Juan Figueroa. Juan, in the town of Plattekill, ran for town supervisor. That guy was a decorated Marine. He was a decorated state trooper. He's one of the most stand-up guys there is. He's an extraordinary guy. Great experience. And he didn't get elected in as well. So while there were some successes out there, we got to take a look at some amazing candidates that did not get elected. And we got to realize that we have a lot more work to do. Also, consider this. Recently, our elected sheriff, I don't know if you know about this situation, a guy named Paul Van Blarcom used the official Facebook page of the county's office to give his 2 cents about the NFL players who are doing the most American thing possible, which is exercising their First Amendment rights. Here's my message to the sheriff. That is not okay, and to my mind, you are part of the problem. Finally, consider the fact that the White House continues to be inhabited by one of the most morally delinquent leaders that this world has ever seen. And that guy is hell-bent on dismantling the very foundation of our great nation as we stand here now. And we are not going to stand for that. But we still have our work cut out for us. I'll tell you a little bit about what I learned from the campaigning experience. The Republicans have a machine. They recruit, they vote, they stand together, they know all the loopholes in the process. And their operations are formidable. If we really plan to take back District 19, if we really plan to take back the White House, if we really plan to take back our nation, we cannot be complacent for 1 second. So I say good job on the successes of 2017 elections, but to my mind, our attention must be singularly focused on areas where improvement is needed, because this is a war that we cannot afford to lose. I'm Geher of Move Forward New York, and I look forward to working with all of you as we continue to fight to reclaim the basic values of the United States of America, because this is still our country. In hell or high water, we are going to take it back Thank you, Faso Friday. And I'm now going to turn over to renowned legislator Hector Rodriguez.
Yeah, he just built Hector.
Thank you, Glenn. Democrats and progressives, lend me your ears for 5 more seconds. Just as Glenn just said, we know from the beginning that there would be challenges and that this road wouldn't be easy. Although I'm here to give you a little bit more hope, because while we may have only gotten 11 seats, I want you to look at all those 11 people that we've got in there. We saw Lynn Archer return to the Ulster County Legislature. We got Lynn Eckert here in the city of Kingston. We got Laura Pettit in Esopus. It is a thing in which we see progressive wins all over this county. But if anything that we can draw from this election is that Ulster County, even though we think of it as blue, is maybe a little bit purple sometimes. And maybe it means that we have to redouble our efforts in those areas where they're red. If you can look at these election results, you see that some of those areas that are red, they got a little bit more red. And those areas that were blue, well, they got a lot more blue. We have to be apostles. There is nothing else. Yes, it's great that we band together in meetings like this, but it's about expanding the group. It's about expanding the pie and making sure that not just that we're showing up, but that 5 of our friends are showing up each and every single time that we pull together meetings, every single time that we do direct action. Because I think that we can win. I think we will win. I think we must win the congressional district. This is not a matter of choice. This is not a matter of, well, maybe it's okay if Faso wins because he voted against the tax bill. Or maybe it's okay because he's not that bad. He sounds like a nice guy. I'm sure he's a perfectly nice guy. However, he's a nice guy that hurts you every single day with his votes. And it's a matter of getting indignant, and it's a matter of finding that deep reserve inside of you. And it also means, first and foremost, talking to people who may not be as like-minded as us, and reaching out to them as Americans and reminding them of those American values. Things like fairness and justice. Talking about helping people with a hand up, not kicking them down that much further with this tax bill. And it's upon us. It means that you have to get more uncomfortable. It means that you have to go and talk to those red neighbors, right? And those people in fire departments, and those people on planning boards and other areas, people that we would not normally talk to. I want you all to go find a cop and talk to a cop and talk to them about justice in America, right? Not in a hostile way. Not in a hostile way, but an American way. And with that, I think I'm turning it over to Gareth.
Stand up. Don't give up the fight. Stand up, stand up. Stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up.
My name is Gareth Rhodes, and I'm running in the congressional seat next year to repeal and replace John Faso. And I want to start by saying, Faso Friday, we won this week. We won a big, big victory. Because, you know, Paul Ryan was looking at how many votes can we lose, and he's looking at his most vulnerable members. Can he tell them that they can vote against this? So, you know, John Faso wanted to vote for this. He had Robert Mercer telling him to vote for this. And because we have created the environment to make him the 3rd most vulnerable member of the House, because we did it right here, starting with the snowbank in January, starting everywhere since, we've created the environment that Paul Ryan called him and said, John, we don't need you for this one, because he wanted to vote for this, and that was a victory, and Faso Friday did it, right here, and in Delhi, and in Kinderhook. Bye-bye, Faso!
No show Faso!
No show Faso!
No, got to go!
Now, Glenn asked me to come here and just briefly say what I thought about the 2017 elections. And I'll say this. Glenn Geher got 600 votes in Plattekill. No Democrat has ever got 600 votes in Plattekill, I don't think. So we should give it a round of applause to Glenn. Yes. Laura Hartman got 1,100 votes. Democrats, and let's also, when Hector was saying, those folks who won, Democratic women led the charge across New York 19 in the tough seats, and they're leading the charge today and will lead the charge into 2018 district-wide. And the lessons I learned from Tuesday were very simple, 2 big lessons. The first one is we have to show up everywhere. Have to show up in all corners of this district. That's why I got an RV right here. I'm going to all 163 towns in New York 19. Because I believe Democrats, we have to show up everywhere. I was out with Laura Pettit in Sopus. She wasn't even using a van sheet or some of those addresses sheets. We were going to every single door in the district, and she won a very, very tough seat. That is, I believe, is lesson number 1. And that's why I think Glenn got so many votes, because Glenn was out running every morning. Run with Glenn. I did it with Glenn, marathon runner, and he got that many votes. I think the number 2 lesson we learned is we don't have to compromise any of our progressive democratic values. Not a single one. Right. Medicare for all, standing up for our workers, standing up for our teachers. And I'll tell you why. I was born right here in Kingston, and I grew up with Maurice Hinchey. Proud, progressive Democrat, first to stand up against the Iraq War when the whole party was on board. First to stand up against NAFTA. He didn't sacrifice any of those values, and he won a tough seat, and he won it over and over and over again. And that's what I believe. If us Democrats, we show up and we don't back down from what we believe in, we will win we will win in 2018 by such a big margin. We'll send John Faso back to his lobbying shop, and that's how we're gonna win. So thank you, Glenn, and thank you, Faso Friday. Let's keep the heat on, and let's keep it going to next year. Thank you.
Could you say your name again?
My name is Gareth Rhodes. Gareth Rhodes, running next year to repeal and replace John Faso. Thank you. Who's next?
Today because it's Faso Friday.
Okay, good.
It's a good day. Let me talk to you a little bit about why what you're doing right now today and have been doing for a long time now is the beginning of something very special. Now, we're seeing it happen all across the country. We're seeing it happen locally. And that is the emergence of folks who are here to take back our country and here to talk about the values and fight for the principles that our ancestors, our forefathers died for. And that is democracy. That is integrity, that is character, that is honesty, that is compassion, that is empathy, that is service. We have a Congress right now that is immoral. Let's just talk through the most obvious examples of that. The decision to try to roll back the ACA, which we all know, with great success, we were able to defeat that outcome. They wanted to take folks off of healthcare who were the most vulnerable amongst us, to give a tax break to the wealthy few. In the church that I grew up in, that's immoral. Fast forward now, tax plan. A tax plan that actually says, I want to give a tax break to the top 1% in this country, right? That's what they want to do, on the backs of working and middle class families. That ain't right. It's not right. And I'm sick and I'm tired of having folks go to Congress and not do the work for the people. Do the work! Yeah. Do the work for the people. Government for the people, by the people. Say it with me. For the people, by the people. For the people, by the people. We don't have that right now. Instead, we have a congressman who was bought and paid for.
For the money.
For the money.
It's about the money.
And we have to change that, and we can change that. What I think I'm excited about the most right now is how engaged people are. I think people now are a little bit more awake than they were. And that is good for democracy.
Yeah.
Because when we show up, when the right side of the argument shows up, when truth shows up, when facts, when the principles, when morality shows up, it wins. The key is the people have to show up with it and do the work for it. And I think we are at a time now where we can make that happen. And I can tell you right now, in case you don't know who I am, I'm Antonio Delgado. And I grew up right in this area, upstate New York, Schenectady, working class family. And I know the values that it takes for working families to have a way. I know where it starts. And I know that where we are right now doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. And we have to send people to Congress who know what it's like to struggle, who know what it's like to have to figure out how to pay the bills, who know what it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. 2/3 of this country right now is living paycheck to paycheck. How many folks we got in Congress that know that experience? How many folks we got in Congress that can relate to that understand that struggle? I can count probably on one hand. So it's important that we send people to Congress who understand that pain and who will fight to do the work for all Americans. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy.
Thank you.
Thank you for the horns.
Say your name again.
Antonio Delgado, candidate for Congress. Let's do it.
Yeah.